Los Angeles Chargers. Here we go. They're coming off a bye, by the way. The Chargers are. And it looks like that Joey Bosa might be doubtful for this one. He's dealing with some hamstring and toe injuries right now. So
I'm really sorry to hear that, bro.
Yeah, that would be.
I really like to play against the best, personally.
Yeah, well, that's where you're at right now. So I think that he's going to be. It's going to be an out situation, I believe, with Bosa. Well, we'll see. They get back Derwin James, their really talented safety. He's been dealing with a hamstring injury. This group plays more of a 4-3 front than they do 3-4, but there's some combination in the way they play their front. There's another one of these teams that likes to stand around the line of scrimmage. They show blitz, and then they back out. They're a really efficient team, though, when they do blitz, but they just don't do it a whole lot. But they try and confuse you. Their big thing are the twist games, the stunts up front. That's really, really big for them. They're trying to confuse you. They're trying to confuse the blocking schemes. They're trying to give you a little bit different looks. I think their linebackers are the key of how this thing operates. With Bosa being out, you still got to deal with Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack, you watch the Raider game, he had 6 sacks in that game. And,
freaking nature, my gosh.
I mean, they're a team that,
something happens to him when he gets to take on the Raiders again.
Yeah,
that's just revenge game. That's a good point.
That is a very good point. But yeah, they've had 16 sacks in this year, and 12 of those have only resulted, or 12 of them have resulted from no blitzing. So
they're trying to just rush.
So they're just trying to rush forward. We saw that last week with San Francisco. The secondary, they're going to play man coverage right around about 30%. They're going to play zone about 70%. They play too deep. Is the way they really line up in their zone coverage. They just don't want to give up anything on the back end. They're just trying to kind of keep everything in front of him. I wonder how much maybe they will play some man in this game after watching what San Francisco did to Dallas.
Get up and just press these dudes.
I bet you start them. They start that way. Why wouldn't you, right? Until the Cowboys prove they can get off press, man. I mean, you might as well run it.
Might as well try. But I mentioned Khalil Mack. He's just been outstanding, and the thing that's so impressive about him. And they like to move him around a little bit, not like with the Micah Parsons. They don't put him in the middle of the defense, but they put him on the edges. It's either left or right edge is what you're going to do with. But what he does, and this could cause some problems, especially for Steele, is that his ability, that first step, he gets so much ground with that first step. And so when he's by taking it, he's on that blocker's shoulder. So he's actually step and hand swipe. He's trying to kind of mess with you. He's trying to do everything in his power to keep your hands off him from blocking him. And so Steele's got to be ready for a big long first step to get to him. And then if it's to him, I mean, hands have got to be quick, because Mack will knock those things away and then he'll attack that outside shoulder. So it's that's something he's going to have to deal with. They'll flip sides, like I say, with these guys during the game. Their interior, they don't have any household names like you dealt with last week, but they don't give up many yards inside. Teams are averaging about 3.1 a carry inside the tackles, but on the outside, that's where teams have had a little bit more success. So you're averaging about 5.5 yards a carry on the outside. So it might be, hey, let's try and think about things maybe on the edge a little bit more instead of what's going on inside, even though I feel like that the Cowboys with the guards with Tyler Smith and Martin and Broaddus, that they might have a little bit of advantage, but teams, have not done a very good job of running the ball in the middle of the defense here. So I mentioned their linebackers earlier. Kenneth Murray, Oklahoma, folks that are from Oklahoma or Oklahoma fans, Sooner fans will remember him. He's a super powerful player. There's some violence to his game. I like the way he changes direction. He could be out of position and then rally back due to his speed. This guy's got power. He's got quickness. He can really, really run. He's a physical player. You have to worry about him playing on the other side of the line of scrimmage. Dallas didn't do a very good job of handling the linebackers last week, but that's kind of a Superman group that you were playing. But Kenneth Murray can cause you some problems. The secondary, I mentioned Derwin James, and I think he's the best player they have in the secondary. He's a very gifted athlete. He's very versatile the way he plays. You can line him up anywhere at safety, and he'll get the job done. He's got range. He's got the ability to match up on the outside, too. He's really a fluid-moving guy. There's no problem dealing with backs or tight ends. You could put him in coverage on those guys. So kind of keep an eye. Maybe they try and take Ferguson out of this game, and they'll match Derwin James on Ferguson and say, okay, that's how we're going to play coverage there, and trying to eliminate that from Dak Prescott. Asante Samuel is the best corner on the squad that I saw. He is not the biggest guy.
Undersized, but he's a ball hawk.
That's exactly what he is. He's not afraid either when it comes to tackling and coming forward. He'll line up on both sides of the formation. I didn't get the impression that they travel. It just seemed to play left and right, but they'll flip sides though. There was in the Raiders game, they did take Samuel. Samuel took Adams, but it was just because of alignment of Adams. Like I said, they play a lot of zone coverage, but this guy, if in fact the Chargers want to play man to see if they can challenge the Cowboys, he's the better suited of the guy. The guy you want to attack here, as I finish this up, is Michael Davis. He's going to play opposite Samuel. He's a longer guy. I mean, Samuel lacks height. Davis is on the other side. He's long, rangy. It takes him more time to adjust. He doesn't move as well as Samuel. And when you see him have to carry men across the field, it's kind of a little bit of a problem. There's just not any burst to his game. So those types of receivers that can run tend to give him a little bit of a problem because he lacks the quickness. He does have a willingness to come forward and tackle and things like that. But of the primary corners that play in this game, I would say that Samuel's the best, Davis is the worst, and that's how I would kind of try and attack him in this game. The thing I worry about is with this Charger passing attack, though, is if in fact that all these balls that this quarterback is having success, Herbert throwing into the seams. We saw what happened last week when they ran Kittle across and they lost coverage of him with a drop linebacker and the safety. You know, the safeties are going to have to play in this game with all the stuff you see going down the middle of that field. So be alert. All right, here we go. The Chargers are clearly different offense than what they've been in the previous seasons when you watch them. As a unit, they run more slants, they run more go routes, and wide receiver screens. That's kind of what we've known from Kellen Moore. But the go routes are clearly something you see as part of their game. They're going to try and throw the ball down the field. They like to run either out of like the sidecar, what we call it, with the back next to the quarterback, or in the pistol with it directly behind the quarterback. So that's a couple of different ways that you're going to get them to hand the ball off. The biggest threats in this offense are Keenan Allen, Gerald Everett, and Austin Eckler. Those are the three players I think you need to worry about the most when you're dealing with this Charger offense. We all kind of have an understanding of Justin Herbert and what he can do. You can't draw him up. You can't drum up any better than how this guy looks physically. I think he's the total package. When you watch him play, the makeup, the skill, the quick decisions. I don't believe he doesn't believe in holding on to the ball or delaying in the process of getting the ball out of his hand. I think he reads pretty quick, and you can't really fool him. So it'll be difficult to try and find a way. What I did notice about this in these games I watch, and I always like to go to the pressure plays. I like to watch him play under pressure, and this kind of goes to their offensive line a little bit. And you're always looking for, okay, who do you match up against? What was surprising of the tape that I watched is they've used high picks on two offensive linemen. Rashawn Slater, the tackle from Northwestern, and then they drafted Zion Johnson from Boston College. And they did it in back-to-back years. And both these guys play on the left side of the offensive line.
Two guys I really wanted the Cowboys to get.
Both, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The Slater one, I was on that one too, and I was thinking about him and Bolton in the second round, the linebacker from Missouri.
Would have been a hell of a combo.
But they got Micah Parsons.
Yeah, I mean, you're not regretting it.
I'm just, I'm happy they got Micah Parsons. But I had a plan of drafting that I was going to try and draft Slater and Bolton, the two guys I was going to get. All right, so anyway, here we are. The thing with Slater on these pressure plays that I've been watching on the Chargers, he's been responsible for quite a few breakdowns. When you watch him play against the Raiders, it was, Crosby is a hard guy to deal with, but man, that was a problem for him. The Vikings, another hard game for him. Tennessee, another hard game. There have been breakdowns at this left tackle spot. I think the right tackle, Pipkins, is the worst of the group. But I was shocked how Slater was giving up pressures in these games.
Yeah, that's stunning because I'm with you. Looking at their line, I figured the right side because I think Sawyer, the Georgia guy, I think he was at tackle that they kicked inside to guard. And he's a huge mass guy, really strong, but slow-footed.
Right, very slow-footed. You're absolutely right about that. So if we are going to keep an eye on things, the right tackle, Pipkins, is a guy that I think you can attack, but don't be surprised if they figure out something on Slater.
Okay.
He's just the pressure plays.
He's no Trent Williams, huh?
The way when they drop back to pass, there were times where he was a little bit. If it wasn't for how good athletically he was, then because he was recovering, it was like
so he does a good job of readjusting.
Oh yeah, but
he gets beat initially.
But there's times where he gets beat, and now his guy's on the quarterback. Now that's a whole nother thing, by the way. That quarterback in the pocket, the Vikings had him sacked. And all of a sudden, he's bouncing off blockers and defenders, and he rolls out and he throws it like 25 yards down the field to Keenan Allen for a first down. When you get bodies to that quarterback, wrap him up. Don't think he's just going to go down because he's the quarterback. He's going to try and keep fighting to be able to throw the football. And when I mentioned to throw the football, I'm going to say this. Keenan Allen to me is, I don't know, maybe he doesn't, maybe he doesn't get enough credit. I don't know. I know there's people that talk about him, but maybe not in the way they should. I think he's their go-to guy. It's clear that when they throw the football, Keenan Allen's the guy they'd like to get it to. The quarterback's rating is 130.5 when he throws the ball to Keenan Allen. He's thrown 3 touchdowns to him. There's no interceptions that have gone his direction. The thing about Keenan Allen, he's so strong-handed as catching the football, but he cannot run out of sight. He's not gonna kill you with, okay, he's just gonna run by us today and we're not gonna be able to keep up.
His change of direction is still pretty dang good though.
Really good. Yeah. It's really, really good. And it's the initial burst, and that's where he gains a little separation. But he's gonna make contested catches, he's gonna play inside, he's gonna play outside, he's gonna body up a defender, he's gonna use the size to his advantage. We'll see what happens with him in the matchups with the cornerbacks here.
That might not be one with Gilmore.
Are
you concerned with Gilmore because he's not a speed guy? That's giving Gilmore some trouble.
Well, he's not big. He's not a bigger guy, and I worry about him. I think on the other side it should be okay, but I'm worried a little bit about them bodying up Gilmore on these routes and stuff like that to see if they can.
Because Quentin Johnston's a big boy too.
Quentin Johnston, we talked about him a bunch from TCU. He's a guy that struggles when they walk up on him. He's trying to learn how to escape, and he really hasn't shown that yet. Okay, in my last minute here, so I'd like to talk about Austin Eckler. Okay, there's a good chance he was dealing with a hamstring, and he's telling everybody he's going to play. He's compact. He's tough. If you play fantasy football, you know this. He finishes on the goal line. He's one of those guys. He's got that ability to see the hole, get through the hole. He's not going to finish a lot of runs just running away from you. Another guy, he's extremely tough. He plays with balance. What's happened, though, is that Kellen Moore doesn't throw screens to him or anything. They don't throw him the ball. It's one of those things where they don't use him in the passing game as much as you've seen. There's been a couple of times they try and get to him, but there's not that screen game anymore. And so we'll see. After Kellen saw what McCaffrey did on the screen in that San Francisco game, I wouldn't be surprised if they try and throw one to Austin Eckler for old time's sake. But that's just not Kellen Moore's way of attacking. It's more wide receiver screens than running back screens. So, but this guy is when you get him going, when you get him around the goal line, he's a tough guy to bring down. This offense has big play capabilities. But the guys they have are extremely tough. I don't think they have the really explosive players, but they're really, the quarterback's super accurate. The wide receiver's big, or they're big. The running back around the goal line's difficult, but keep an eye on these offensive tackles. That might be a little bit of a place you can make some hay there.